We always wanted to work with Elliot Scheiner because he, without a doubt, is one of the most prolific and important and legendary producers and engineers and mixers of all time in the history of pop music and rock music as well.
Elliot's really well known for his mixing, and it is so interesting to see how minimalistic his approach is, because working as an engineer, there's a ton of things you can add in post and a ton of extra things you can pile onto the sound, but he relies on technique, EQ, and really just levels to make sure everything is where it needs to be.
My uncle had a pair of Koss headphones, which was the only headphones at that time, and I went up to his apartment and laid down on the floor and listened to Sgt. Pepper and was mind blown. And I started reading the back cover and I saw Jeff Emmerich being the engineer, and all I could think about was I wanted to be him. I started my career as an audio engineer, not even. I knew nothing. But I got a job in a studio, and I learned just about everything from Phil Ramone, who's at the time one of the biggest engineers in this country. And I started with them for a few years and learned everything I could and became a credible engineer at some point. The most historic record for me was Van Marsden. It was Moondance. But I had done a couple albums prior to that. But at that point, Van, he had a name and he was making hit records. And that was important to me. A lot more projects after Van. The next big thing that happened to me was recording the music for Godfather. I started doing more and more movies at that time. It brought credibility with everyone. Oh, you did that? And it was, oh yeah, I did it one day. No, it was great. After that, I did Steely Dan. I had done Steely before they were Steely. They were, side musicians for a band called Jay and the Americans. One of the later records was Asia, and we got nominated for a Grammy for engineering. There was nothing else about the album that was nominated except engineering. And that night we went on, we actually won it. And what I thought is that by winning these things, you could get more calls. And I did. And, so one after another calls started to come in, and it was a joyous time.
It was Elliot's decision to record here at the Clubhouse in Rhinebeck, actually, which is a beautiful studio run by Paul Antonell.
Came up here the first day, and I took a look at this place, and it was new and modern. The room was, but it had the feeling of when you do a band in the 70s, you tried to find a place where you could hold up. Spend a couple of weeks there. Nobody moving anything, everybody sat. And the studio felt like that. When I came into the control room and saw the Neve, and looking at it and seeing it, was working rather way too well. It was just too good. And I sat there opening mics going, how's this possible? And this quickly became my favorite studio. So, you know, anything I have to do, especially if it's with the band, you know, I'm gonna be here.
One of the cool things about recording at the clubhouse is that there are a bunch of different rooms, which gives you sounds and textures that are really unique to this place. So we have the live room, which is really big, and it has the high ceilings and wood floors.
Here in the main room, we focused on really big configuration of drum sets.
We had the riser set up. It was a lot bigger than I would normally use. It was about a 2-foot riser, and it was 2 components. They tied in, they were probably 16 by 16. And we set drums on there and it sounded amazing.
Then we're moving to the library. We're going to do another smaller kit, but since that room is just darker and drier, we're going to pick a kit that kind of will shine in that room and fit those characteristics.
It was really padded. There's stuff all over the ceilings and the walls, just, you know, acoustic treatment that deadened up the room. And that reminded me of like 70s stuff. In 70s Philadelphia, I'd done some stuff like that in a couple of Philadelphia studios where you really had no choice. That was the room. It was dead. You know, so you did that, and that's what that sound was.
And then next to it, there's Studio ISO.
And it sounds a bit more open, but also rather dense and tight in comparison to the main room here.
Once I left A&R, I began using booths. At the power station, they have booths, and you'd use them because it was live, and you couldn't afford to have the leakage from drums all over the place. So I'd always find a way of working out a booth sound. And I would say in the second booth we used, it was similar to what I would do at power station.
When working with a legend like Elliot Scheiner, our approach is always to go for what he actually wants to create. First of all, we would set no boundaries at all. I mean, there are no rules. We provide him with all the gear and all the opportunities, all the instruments he wants to record, and try to make it easy for him to create his vision of the best possible drum sounds he would want to record. And that's what we did here.
He's very tough in the sense that he knows what sounds he's looking for and he always gets them.
And you know, this place has all 3 opportunities here, so I'm pretty confident about it. I like this place. I love this place.
For anyone who is going to be using these samples, I really hope that they can hear the attention to detail that we had in the studio and the determination and hard work from Elliot and from Norman playing the drums.
And that's what we did. We took it from there and just tried to bring his sonic vision here with the drums, at the clubhouse, with the gear, and with all the available instruments come to life.
Originally I did this because it was new to me. I didn't know what it would bring. But after hearing what you guys played for me that you put into its pattern, you know, I hope that people who use this, you know, will listen to it and say, geez, you know, this is great. You know, I hope they use this to make, from my point of view, really great sounding music.